How many times have you asked yourself, why doesn't anyone value me the way I deserve? You do everything right, you're kind, present, hardworking, and yet you still feel invisible. The truth is harsh, but liberating. People only treat you the way you allow them to. And yes, there is a proven method, used by philosophers like Seneca, that completely transforms how others see you. What's it called? Strategic self-worth. But hold on, this has nothing to do with being arrogant, playing games, or acting hard to get. It's much deeper than that. It involves understanding how human recognition works, how to inspire respect without begging for attention, how to master the silent game of emotional communication. It's a method based on Stoicism that will challenge your beliefs and make you the center of attention without saying a single extra word. What you'll learn here isn't generic self-help. It's a system of perception, presence, and personal power that few know about, but it changes everything. Those who apply it see fast results, more respect, more reciprocity, and more peace. And the best part? You can start now. But first, let me show you why being ignored is often our own fault, and how to reverse that in an elegant and definitive way. Some people spend their entire lives chasing applause that may never come. They give their best, pour everything they have, go all in, and at the end of the day, they still feel ignored. Stoicism offers a direct and even liberating way to view this. If recognition comes, great. If it doesn't, your inner happiness can't depend on it. Because living for other people's validation means giving up your authenticity. And when you trade your essence for acceptance, the price is always too high. The problem is, no one tells us this, right? Since we were kids, we were taught to do well to earn a gold star. Praise becomes an addiction, and when it doesn't come, we crumble inside. That's where emotional independence comes in, the true modern superpower. Those who practice Stoicism learn to care less about the audience and focus more on their inner stage, where self-worth lives. After all, the brightest light doesn't always belong to the one in the spotlight. Want a practical example? Think of someone at your job who delivers excellence but never self-promotes. That person usually has peace, focus, and resilience. They know their worth isn't based on likes or pats on the back. If you want to reach that level, start by writing down your own accomplishments at the end of the day, even if no one saw them. That's personal growth. And when that value comes from within, you'll start to notice a curious detail about human behavior. There's a silent but powerful strategy, making others fear losing you. This isn't about manipulation, it's about self-worth. When someone sees that you're always there, available, predictable, your value tends to decrease in their eyes. Human beings value what they fear losing. And Stoicism teaches us to cultivate emotional independence precisely so we don't live at anyone else's mercy. Distancing yourself emotionally, with balance, can be transformative. It's not about disappearing off the map. It's about no longer pouring all your emotional energy into someone who doesn't give it back. This might mean responding a little slower, prioritizing your own commitments, or even stepping away for a while. When you create a bit of mystery around yourself, people start to wonder, am I losing someone special? That's when the game changes. Those who know their worth aren't afraid to pull back. It's not coldness, it's self-care. It's knowing that your peace is worth more than fleeting validation. A simple example: instead of rushing to fix someone's problem when they're never around for yours, take a deep breath. Let them feel your absence. The space you leave speaks volumes. And when that absence weighs on them, it communicates something no words ever could. Always being available might seem generous, but deep down, it can be a subtle mistake. When you become the always there person, you start to blend into the background, and what's too constant loses its shine. Stoicism talks about boundaries. Being clear about what is a priority and what is not is a powerful form of self-worth. And here's something interesting. When you disappear a little, your value shows up. It's counterintuitive, but it works. Have you ever noticed how that friend who only shows up once in a while seems more intriguing? It's not because they're better than you. It's because they knew how to balance presence with scarcity. And scarcity in the emotional world creates value. This applies to friendships, relationships, work. Saying, "I can't right now," is a way of showing that your life has flow, rhythm, and priorities. And that sparks recognition without you ever asking for it. Want to apply this? Try not responding to messages right away. Structure your routine so your personal commitments aren't constantly interrupted by other people's demands. Treat your time like a rare treasure, because it is. This attitude shows personal growth, strengthens your authenticity, and naturally places you in a position of greater respect. And respect, my friend, is built with small actions, including what you choose not to give away for free. Is there anything more attractive than what we don't fully understand yet? Mystery is magnetic. It intrigues, provokes, and holds attention. In Stoicism, moderation is a virtue, and that also applies to how much you reveal about yourself. Keeping a sense of mystery is a subtle way to spark interest without saying a word. It's about leaving gaps that others want to fill. It's showing that you have layers that aren't given away at first glance. In a world where everyone shares everything, those who hold back become the exception, and the exception stands out. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about knowing what's worth sharing. You know that person who always has an opinion, who shares every detail of their life? Now think of someone who speaks little, but when they do, it hits deep. That's the power of authenticity balanced with mystery. You create a presence that doesn't shout, but leaves a mark. Want a practical example? Instead of sharing all your plans, keep some quiet until they happen. Instead of answering everything with precision, learn to use phrases like, "I'm still thinking about that," or "I'd rather keep that part to myself." That's self-compassion, because you're protecting your energy. It's also a form of emotional self-care. And those who take good care of themselves naturally start to receive more emotional investment from others. There's an unspoken rule in human relationships. We value more what we invest in. Time, energy, attention, all of that is emotional investment. If you always make things easy, always give first, always anticipate the other person's needs, you prevent them from truly getting involved. Stoicism teaches us not to seek approval, but to build connections based on reciprocity. When you allow others to invest in you, you become meaningful. It's like that book you got for free, skimmed through and forgot. But the one you bought, read carefully, took notes on, and revisit from time to time. See the difference? Life works the same way. When you allow someone to make an effort for you, take initiative, sit with the silence, you create a valuable bond. This is also a way to practice boundaries and show that you have clear priorities. If someone truly cares, they'll invest. In practice, it's simple. Don't accept last-minute invites from people who never plan to see you. Wait for them to message first. Ask what they're willing to offer before you give in. That's self-worth, not arrogance. It's knowing that if you always give everything, the other person will never need to give anything. And deep down, humans want to earn things. They want to feel they fought for something worthwhile. And you need to be that something. Some people confuse love with self-abandonment. They keep giving in, staying silent, hoping the other person will notice their effort and respond with the same intensity. But without realizing it, they constantly put themselves second. And when you don't treat yourself as a priority, others won't either. Stoicism teaches us to look inward, identify our true needs, and defend them with confidence, without guilt, without fear, and most importantly, with self-compassion. Prioritizing your needs isn't selfish. It's like on an airplane. You put on your own oxygen mask first, so you can help others. When you eat well, sleep enough, set your schedule, respect your quiet or focus time, that's self-care in action. and it sends a powerful message: my well-being matters. Interestingly, that often makes others look at you with more respect and even value you more. Want an exercise? Make a list of 5 things you need but have been putting off. It could be a doctor's appointment, an overdue conversation, or just some alone time. Then pick one each week and prioritize it. Make space for your inner voice. By doing this, you show the world, without saying a word, that you have resilience, that you know what you want, and that you won't settle for less than you deserve. And when that energy shifts, something starts to shift in how others behave too. Putting someone at the center of your life is dangerous because you end up revolving around them and drifting away from yourself. The problem is, this often comes from fear. Fear of losing them, fear of not being enough, fear of being alone. But Stoicism is clear: nothing external should control our inner world. When you place someone on a pedestal, you automatically lower yourself. And when you live for someone else, you lose your emotional independence. What truly attracts others isn't neediness, it's presence. It's someone who knows how to live on their own, who cultivates inner happiness, who has their own life. That person gives off a sense of ease, and ease is magnetic. You know that person who has their own projects, who travels solo, who enjoys life without depending on someone's constant presence? They're not being indifferent, they're showing authenticity. And that's a mature form of personal growth. If you want to start applying this, begin by scheduling time just for yourself each week. It could be reading, a new class, a personal project. Set goals that are just yours. Create plans that don't involve anyone else. That shows that your life is filled by you, not by someone else's presence. And it's right at that point that something interesting happens. The other person begins to realize that being with you is a choice, not a necessity. And that changes everything. Communication that flows only one way turns into affection disguised as pressure. If you're always the one sending messages, asking how the other person is, trying to keep the connection alive, something's off. Stoicism shows us that true self-worth comes when you understand that silence also speaks, and sometimes it speaks loudly. When you step back and no one comes after you, that's your answer. It may hurt, but it's freeing. Giving the other person space to step forward is a simple test of emotional investment, and it's amazing how the emotional balance shifts when you stop chasing. It's not about ignoring or playing games. It's about creating space. If someone truly cares, they'll fill that space. If they don't, well, you shouldn't keep exhausting yourself, right? That's self-care, knowing how far you'll go and from where you start choosing yourself. In practice, start with the simple things. Wait for the other person to start the conversation. Take your time before responding. Notice who actually feels your absence. This shift builds a powerful inner strength, and with it, a certain mystery emerges, the kind of energy that attracts effortlessly. Little by little, you stop trying to be remembered and start being naturally sought out. And when that shift happens, your relationship with your own presence transforms. Happiness that depends on someone else is like building a house on rented land. At any moment, you could be evicted. Stoicism teaches that true inner happiness begins when you realize you're the only one responsible for how you feel. That doesn't mean the world will always be kind, but it does mean you can be kind to yourself. And that changes everything. When you're full on the inside, the outside becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Secure people are magnetic. Those who practice self-care with love, who enjoy their own company, who don't need an audience to feel alive, they end up attracting far more than those who beg for attention. And that's no coincidence. This kind of emotional independence brings freedom, and freedom is irresistible. The person who chooses to be happy every day, even with life's flaws and absences, shows a strength the whole world notices, even without saying a word. Want a simple way to start? Do something small just for yourself every day. It could be walking while listening to a playlist you love, cooking your favorite meal, meditating for 10 minutes, or writing in a journal. These daily actions remind you that you are your best company. They strengthen your authenticity, show that you have your own priorities, and that you don't need anyone else to feel your life is worthwhile. And that's when something interesting begins to happen with the people around you. Knowing when to leave is an art. Sometimes the most powerful silence is the one that comes when you simply walk away. Stoicism teaches us that we must be ready to let go of anything that disrupts our peace, and being willing to step away from people, situations, or even outdated beliefs is a way of saying, I respect myself. That's pure self-worth. And more than that, it's high-level emotional resilience. Many people stay where they aren't valued out of fear of being alone, but solitude, when chosen consciously, becomes healing. It shows that you have the strength to walk without emotional crutches. And interestingly, it's in that distance that others start to recognize your value. Because you set boundaries, you made it clear you won't accept crumbs. That shifts how people see you because it communicates personal growth. And no one respects someone who doesn't respect themselves. A practical example: if you're always the one who makes plans, always the one who gives in, always the one who waits, and never receives in return, stop. Take a step back. Observe. Create space. If someone is going to have you in their life, let it be with real presence, not just out of habit. That kind of move shows that you are whole, and whole people don't beg for halves. And when that energy starts guiding your decisions, something much deeper begins to transform within. Marcus Aurelius didn't need applause, he needed peace. And that peace came from within: self-awareness, self-compassion, and an unshakable confidence in his own values. From that solid core, he made decisions with clarity. That's what Stoicism offers: an internal guide so you stop searching outside for what can only be built inside. And it starts with the simple act of observing yourself without judgment. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the greatest acts of self-love. Saying no when it's easier to say yes, turning down invitations that don't align with your values, stepping away from toxic environments. All of that strengthens your authenticity. And someone who is authentic, even in silence, communicates presence. They become a priority, first to themselves, and then inevitably to others. Because the world respects those who treat themselves with respect. And finally, surround yourself with environments that support your personal growth. That includes reading great books, like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, having meaningful conversations, seeking constant learning, and taking care of your body and mind with kindness. A space, both internal and external, that nurtures your well-being is also an invitation for inner happiness to flourish. And when that happiness starts to overflow, it leaves a trace that others feel, even if they can't quite explain where it comes from. If there's one thing you can't allow anymore starting today, it's being ignored by those who should value you. Now that you've learned these Stoic strategies, and more importantly, how to apply each one with authenticity, self-worth, and emotional independence, the question is, are you going to keep accepting crumbs, or are you going to become the priority in your own life? How many times have you silenced yourself just to be heard by others? How many times have you erased your needs, waiting for recognition that never came? From now on, that changes. You have a new guide for emotional conduct, and if you apply it with consistency, the results will surprise you. You'll attract more respect, more interest, and most importantly, a sense of peace that no longer depends on anyone else. Now tell me, which of these actions are you going to start applying today? Drop a comment below. I want to follow your journey. And if you want to keep learning how to build a life where your value is non-negotiable, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because the next video might be exactly what gives you your next breakthrough.